What can you expect from the FAA during a ramp check? Let's start out with why the FAA may be there conducting the check to begin with. It may be because they observed a regulatory noncompliance, or they want to get a closer look at the aircraft to ensure airworthiness. They may actually just be there for routine surveillance, and you happen to be the lucky one on the ramp today. It's really not that common for general aviation airmen to get ramp checked by the FAA, although it does happen. However, despite what you may think, they're not there in a negative light. They're not there to get you. What they want to do is promote safety and ensure compliance with the regulations. You can expect them to look at your airman certificate and ensure that you're appropriately rated for that aircraft. You can expect for them to look at your medical, your photo ID. They may ask to see any endorsements. If it's a tailwheel or a high performance aircraft, they may request to see your logbook to show proficiency or competency with a flight review, IPC, or 3 takeoffs and landings. Now, as far as the aircraft is concerned, they're going to do probably what you've already done, which is a walk around, and they're going to make sure there's nothing leaking from the aircraft, nothing hanging off it, nothing that would render the aircraft inoperative or unairworthy. They're going to look at the airworthiness document, the registration, the owner's manual or operating handbook, and the weight and balance data specifically for the aircraft, not the weight and balance data that you compute for the passengers and baggage. We'll talk about that in a minute. They may request to see any LOAs or letters of authorization associated with like a sightseeing tour operation, if that's what you're doing, or any LOAs associated with special equipment that may be required. Now, as far as the weight and balance data and performance data, are you required to have that on you during a flight? Well, maybe. 91103 says you have to be familiar with every part and every aspect of the flight, and you have to be familiar with the runway lengths for takeoff and landing and the data in the AFM for takeoff and landing distances. It doesn't say you actually have to carry those documents on you, but I would always put it back on you and make sure you're asking yourself, are you familiar with those numbers? Because you may go into a gravel runway or a grass runway, or you may have trees at the end of a different runway, or you may actually not know the numbers for your flight from the airport that you fly out of every single day. You have to be familiar with those numbers. And by being familiar with them, you have to know them. So you may not be required to carry the documents on board, but it's important that you know what those numbers are. I'll see you next time.